Okay, so we started saying that we have the 8 reasons of why the Holy Temple was destroyed. So let's go through them quickly. So the first one is because we did not keep the Shabbat. So what is it about the Shabbat that, is so important? So it's not only the religious ritual that, obviously God said in the Torah that we should keep Shabbat, but it's not only that. If you think about it, like we're living in a big world of redemption where wealth is very accessible and many people have Shabbat 7 days a week. But there's still so many people who don't have Shabbat and are even working on Friday and on Sunday, right? So to have Shabbat in a healthy society is so fundamental. To have a resting day in a healthy to sustain a healthy society, to have a resting day is so fundamental. And so then you say, okay, so why should I, not turn on my phone and not turn on my television and not do this and not do that? So I want to say it's not so much about what you don't do. It's very much about how you do fill your time with, what you fill your time with on Shabbat. Because, maybe you don't turn on any music, but it makes you sing. When did you last sing? Not just in the shower. So, right?
Yeah.
So it's like people actually fill the time with singing. Remember we used to like having sing-along, parties, right? We don't have them anymore. Okay, some people have karaoke.
Yes, they
but
do.
I think even
Very
that
popular.
went out of the world.
Especially in Florida.
So, what?
Especially in Florida.
Right. So imagine like we're singing together around the table. Isn't that amazing, right? And then the fact that we're not turning on our electronic devices, the fact that we don't have to spend time cooking, we can take a walk, we can sing, we can eat calmly and actually chew our food and not just swallow it, right? Everything is like so laid back. Everything is so calm, right? So like that's, we finally have time for our children, for our spouses, for our friends, for the people we love. So that's like, so that's Shabbat, okay? What we do fill our time with, not just what we don't do. Don't look at what we don't do. Don't look at Shabbat as something as, restrictive to a million things you would want to do. But think what you could fill your time with if you were away from your phone for 1 day a week. And the other thing is that we're learning today that the dopamine, reimbursement of dopamine in our brain, thanks to the phone applications and the ding-dongs in our phone and whatever, they're so unhealthy. They're actually creating a toxication of dopamine. But it's not real dopamine. It's fake dopamine. It's not the dopamine that actually makes us happy.
Oh.
But the dopamine that actually makes us happy is the dopamine of meeting with our friends, meeting with our families, taking a walk, connecting to nature. That's the healthy dopamine. So that's, Shabbat. And the second thing we were saying, so that the fact that we did not read the Shma in the morning and the evening, to have a structure in life of going to sleep on time and waking up in the morning and having a routine, like when you wake up in the morning early and you have all the time in the world to pray and meditate and do your exercise, with the 5 a.m. club before the whole world wakes up in the morning, and eat properly in the morning, and then you have time to go to you get to mincha and your lunch, because you can't have lunch before you say mincha. So you say mincha on time, and it reminds you, because you want to have lunch, it reminds you to say mincha, right? So you say mincha on time, you eat lunch on time, then you're hungry enough both spiritually and physically for ma'ariv and dinner at a certain hour, which is not too late. So it creates a structure in your life, and then you're actually tired enough at an early hour because you woke up really early because you already have a structure in your life. So that's the idea of not having Shma on time, that or having Shma on time, setting my life around having Shma on time, praying on time, to create healthy habits in my life. And they did not have those healthy habits. So that was one of the main reasons that Jerusalem got destroyed, and every person gets destroyed from that. The third thing is that they did not take enough notice of teaching their children. You know, the Jewish nation is very structured, founded, based on teaching our children, on knowledge, on learning, on being smart. You know, the amount of Nobel Prizes in the Jewish people in comparisons to the rest of the world, even though we're a small minority in the world, we have a humongous number of prize Nobels in comparisons to the rest of humanity, is because we made learning sacred, important in our lives. And there was a time when they didn't, believe it or not. So when you, and the other thing is that when you need to take your kids to school on time, you go to sleep on time. So that also creates a healthy habits and structures, exactly. The fourth thing is that they did not have shame from each other. So we know that one of the main things in for the Jewish people, or how we want to define ourselves, is that we're shy, compassionate, and merciful, right? So you might say, what's the difference between compassionate and merciful? So the difference is that compassion is, I might have compassion for you, but I'm not going to act on it. So what's my compassion worth if I'm not going to help you, right? So I'm going to say, oh, I'm sorry you're going through this and that, and I'm going to go back to my business, right? And so many times that's what we do. Oh, there's so much trouble in the world and I can't fix the world, so I may as well go back to my business or go to sleep, right? Because anyway, I can't fix the world. But this is not the way how we operate. We are humble, and we try to be humble, compassionate, and act on our compassion. Not just think of it, but actually act on it. So the fifth thing is that they kind of forgot to, or I don't even like, they forgot, but it's really, we should look at ourselves, different people are good at different things.
Okay.
They did not, and we sometimes don't, many times we don't, appreciate people for what they're good at. So we're focusing on what we're good at, but we're not focusing what somebody else is good at, right? Like if somebody gives you a compliment, try to make sure to notice what you can compliment them with. Like it's a big foundation to creating a healthy society, is that I'm not like walking around with my big ego, thinking how great I am at what I do. Or like I know someone who's like, anything they'll see somebody else is doing, they're like, oh, I can do that too, No, they're good at music, and you're good at physics, and you're good at chemistry, and you're good at being a lawyer, whatever it is, right? Like everybody's good at something. Make sure to notice what everybody's good at, to bring out their potential and nourish it and help them grow in what they're good at. Like, pet their ego a bit, and help them to come out of their shell and to bring out their light into the world.
Have an awareness that everyone is a piece in this puzzle.
Exactly.
And if everybody is working at the top level, then everyone will be
Benefit,
successful and
right.
yes.
The whole world will benefit, exactly.
Yes.
And the other thing is, so you could, like we have the mitzvah, yeah, we're at number 6. So the other thing is that we have the mitzvah of rebuking each other. But the question is how we rebuke each other. And how do we don't turn off people by rebuking them. So there was a joke about this guy who came to the rabbi in a small place and told him, Rabbi, I finally figured out why we have so many troubles in this town. Because this one is stealing, and this one is killing, and that one is raping, and that one is whatever, is sleeping with his friend's wife, and I don't know what, right? And this one is not modest enough, and this one is not eating the right meat, and this one, their dishes are a mess, and so the rabbi told him, now I know why we have trouble in this town. Because exactly. Because we have somebody who's walking around and seeing all the bad about everyone.
Definitely.
So the question is, how do we rebuke people in a way that will make them stronger, not in a way that will make them smaller.
In a productive way.
In a productive way, exactly. And if you don't know how to do it, you cannot create this mitzvah of rebuke.
No.
This mitzvah of rebuke is not your mitzvah. It's not like Shabbos that you have to keep Shabbos, okay? If you don't know how to rebuke people in a way that will make them bigger, that will make them shine, it's not your mitzvah. And how do you know if it's your mitzvah or not? There are actually 3 parameters of how you rebuke people. One is that you ask yourself in what state of mind they're at. Are they ready to be rebuked?
Yeah.
One is that you have figured out a nice way to do it. And the third one, I don't know, I lost it now. I forgot. So, but anyway, learn to see what state of mind they're at, what state of mind you're at, and if you have formalized the right way of coming to their heart.
I think you have to come with a love. You
Right.
have to feel love for the other person.
Right.
No.
Right, exactly. So that's an important one.
Yeah.
So, right, you're coming to them
To
not
help
because
them.
they're the first one that you found to get your anger out on today, right? It's like, I can't hit you, so I might as well rebuke you, right? So it's like you walk around the world without looking for someone to be rebuked.
Right.
You're walking around the world to help people shine. Then sometimes people need to be rebuked. But it doesn't mean that every little thing you see around the world, you have the mitzvah to rebuke the person with. And some people are very good at walking the world around and just seeing bad in each and every person. This is bad about this one, this was bad about that one. And you're not doing the mitzvah of rebuke that way. You're just doing getting yourself further away from Hashem and getting the whole world further away from Hashem. And literally destroying the world, literally, like this rabbi said to this guy, you're the problem in our town.
Yep.
So this is one of the main reasons of why Jerusalem was destroyed and the Holy Temple was destroyed. And the other thing is, number 7, is that we did not have enough appreciation of Torah scholars. And I would like to add to that, it's not just the Torah scholars. Yes, it's the Torah scholars, but I want to add to that we have a lot of wise people. Yes, we need to sift them through. And unfortunately, we also have a lot of Torah scholars in our generation, which have been, I don't know how I'm going to say it in a nice way, but have departed a little bit from God's path. Maybe they know a lot of Torah, but they're not godly people. And I know rabbis who are not super spiritual and super connected to Hashem. And even though they have, I'm not even talking about those people who've created awful crimes, but, in spite of all their great knowledge.
Yeah.
I'm talking even on a lower level. A lot of people, just even if they have a lot of knowledge, they're not connected to Hashem in their hearts. So on one hand, we need to appreciate Torah scholars. But on the other hand, we also have to, I think, look for people who are not necessarily know Torah so well, but can teach us how to come closer to Hashem. How to become better people.
Sounds good to me.
So maybe they're Torah scholars and maybe they're not. But I would like to say the Talmidei Chachamim in our generation, I would like to, Talmidei Chachamim is not necessarily people who know a lot of Torah. Talmidei Chachamim is people who are really connected inside. We're approaching the month of Elul. The month of Elul, the letter that symbolizes the month of Elul, we'll talk more about it in the Elul, but the letter that symbolizes the month of Elul is the letter Yud, which is a metaphor to the idea that Yud is the smallest letter in the alphabet, and it talks about the light that's inside your heart. So unfortunately, there are a lot of Torah scholars who have no light inside of their hearts, and then there are some people who really get us closer to God and really have the inside light, even though what they're learning is not so much Torah, but other things, but they just have the light. So we should seek them out. Find them. Find those people who will teach you how to get closer to Hashem, how to get closer to your center, how to become better people. And they did not do it so much. They missed on it, and we don't want to miss on it again.
Mm-hmm.
So the last thing is that it says that we didn't have, and it's connected to the previous thing, that we didn't have Anshe Amana. What's Amana? Amana is like an agreement, but it also comes from the word faith and believe, like Emuna and Amun. Emuna and Amun, which is really faith and believing. So, like, how do you create a world where, that's why I said it's connected to the previous thing. How do we create a world where you can trust people? That people are trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
So basically we had less people that were trustworthy. So if we want to create a healthy society, if we want to have a healthy structure in our lives, then we need to learn to keep our word, right? It's not just that you signed an agreement, you gave your word, right?
Yep.
But it's even on smaller things, right? You promised your spouse that you will do the dishes. You promised your child that you'll take them on a trip,
I'm supposed to call Hannah.
Whatever you promised, even think about the little things. Keep yourself trustworthy so that people will trust in people, because what sanctifies Hashem's name and what keeps a healthy structure in a society is when we can believe each other, when we can kind of
trust each other's word.
Yeah, and feel like we are laid back. It's okay. Somebody promised me something.
Yes.
I don't have to look around my shoulder and make sure they do it.
Yeah. That's a lot more productive too. Even if you're in a business, if you can trust that your employees are going to do what they said they're going to do, you can be more effective in doing your job.
Or as the employer also.
That's what I mean.
Employees or the employer.
Right.
Yeah, in both directions, yeah.
Everybody can be more productive.
Right.
So if you're building a temple and you can't trust that the bricklayer is going to be laying the bricks the way they're supposed to do it, and the electrician is going to be wiring the electric and the plumber's going to be putting in the plumber, then you have to spend your time looking over everybody's shoulder.
Exactly. And that takes away so much of the serenity.
Yes.
And the
And
effectiveness of life.
Yeah, definitely. It's very true.
Right.
I like that.
So see you next time. Bye-bye. Please subscribe our channel and so you won't miss on any of our next shows. Have a wonderful day.